Already found 2 bugs. Oh no, we're just jumping straight into it. Um, yeah, to be honest, I'm sure there's like 200 bugs. I'm aware of the. Well, I'll get into it soon, but yeah, what's if you're downloading latest test builds, these are very much alpha builds. So it's I'll be fixing some stuff, but yeah, I appreciate if you can point me at whatever bugs you're seeing too. Oh yes. Merp. Yeah, I expect to see a bunch of stuff like this. Um, I will have to squash these one by one. I'll get through it, but the reason for this, it's kind of a nerdy thing. Um, but since I've rejiggered the whole asset pipeline, these textures are now saved. It's called pre-multiplied, where basically, if you're familiar with images, they have an alpha channel, which is how transparent they are at any point. And there's kind of 2 ways you can save textures or images. One is called pre-multiplied, where the color has the alpha channel already multiplied into it. And there's some benefits of doing it that way, like you can composite it easier, the math is a little simpler, things like that. There's also straight alpha, which doesn't have the alpha channel multiplied into the color channel. So anyway, long story long, we used to be using straight alpha for everything, and now, as of yesterday, everything is switching to pre-multiplied alpha, which means I need to update some of the text or some of the shader math to account for that. So right now there will be little things like this, where this is supposed to be totally transparent, but it is glowing instead. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole for the next, I don't know, however long it takes till we get this stuff all straightened out. Or yeah, this is probably something similar. Let me see if this shows up for me. Burp, 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 burp. So ideally, I would have had a fully polished, 100% bug-free build. Oh, yep, there it is. Oh gosh. Yeah, so ideally I would have had a fully polished, bug-free build available today for showing you guys, but that's not the case. There is still a lot of exciting stuff in there, though. Like the asset package pipeline is pretty much fully working, so it's exciting stuff. This is really weird. I'm wondering why. Oh, I think.
Public is complete. Every check is green across the board.
Hooray!
The great texture migration has shipped.
That is, by the way, that's my little assistant. I wrote. I wired up Claude to plug into this text generation API, so whenever he finishes something, he talks to me in a cartoon voice. I love it. Which means, what did he just finish? He finished, okay, shipping builds to public and checking GitHub. Okay, anyway, done with you, Claude. Go away. I'll just shut him. Oh, he's still doing something there. I don't code anymore, by the way. I yell at Claude. No, I still code some, but Claude is awesome. Okay, yeah, so this should be a very easy fix, but yes, this is this is our new graphics, guys. How do you like them? Oh, is everyone hearing me okay? So anyway, yeah, wow, good showing here. You all didn't forget about me. Sorry, it's been like a bajillion years since our last coffee with Eric. I just kind of fell down this rabbit hole of started working with Claude and started like doubling down on getting the 1.8 stuff in a good place. It was kind of frustrating to have just like coffee with Eric after coffee with Eric and be like, what's new? Nothing. It felt like that, sometimes, even though I was hard at work. But now there actually is a lot of new stuff to show, so I'm very excited. For one, you might notice, if you zoom in here, the version number is now officially 1.8.0 Alpha 1. So it's a very, very rough 1.8 build, but it is a 1.8 build, so 1.8 is actually happening. There will be no more 1.7 builds. That's kind of exciting. Last 112. Oh my gosh, time flies. Well, hopefully now with these updates there will be, I'm kind of I think I mentioned this to you guys before, is instead of Coffee with Eric, sometimes I was just hopping on Discord every Wednesday and doing kind of my original idea, which was more like an office hours thing. Just like I'll be around and we can chit chat about like what's broken or debug stuff or talk about like, I don't know, feedback or this and that. So that's actually been working nicely. So I kind of want to find a balance of doing Coffee with Eric sometimes because live demos are fun and all that. But also just hanging around on Discord is fun too. We get to fix bugs and do fun stuff like that. Yeah. I wish I could do both. It's just, trying to do this kind of be a single person dev team is, I definitely got to like schedule my time smartly. But anyway, good to see you guys. It's been a bit. So anyone have any questions or like anything urgent? Is anything on fire? Things totally broken anywhere? Just to kick off. And then I can go into demoing some of the asset package stuff. I'll probably have everyone just continue or stick to typing if you can for now at least. Now it's time for 1.9. Well, before 1.9, I got to finish 1.8. I mean, it's very, very close now, and I think I will probably I'll probably drop 1.8.0 sooner rather than later. Just I think maybe once all the built-in assets are converted to asset packs, that would probably be a good time. Right now, like, maybe a little less, or maybe I don't know, maybe something like half of the textures are converted to asset packages, and half are still the old ones. So I have the process is up and running. I'm like migrating them all, and I have to fix those graphics issues I showed you, but it should be pretty fast now that all the pieces are in place. Then I still got to migrate meshes and audio and whatever else I'm forgetting too, but that should be more straightforward. Like textures has been the big one because like we're using completely different texture formats now, and all that stuff has changed. So that has been like a lot of work. But it's all working. Do you know the name of the font? I think Impact. Is that Impact? I mean, this is all clay. I literally modeled these out of clay, but I think it was based on Impact. Let me check. Impact font. Yeah, I think it's that. Does that look right? Yeah, just take a look at like those uppercase. I just wanted something like, big and bold. So I think it's Impact. Question that isn't solved. Okay, well, I hope that solved your question. The big font is Impact, and the small one is, I always forget the name of the small one, but that's kind of a common one. I want to kind of like tweak the small one at some point because it's a very recognizable font. So I'm always seeing it like in restaurant names and menus and random things on the street and stuff. I'm like, that's my font. Hobo, that's it. Hobo, thank you, newbie. Hobo, yeah, it does like, that's why I picked Hobo is because it does kind of look clay-like. So I thought maybe at some point, something that's like Hobo, but maybe just moving a little away from it, so it still looks kind of clay-like and kind of playful. Oh gosh, is this is this another graphics glitch? Wow. I think this is also pre-multiplied alpha, so yeah. The takeaway right here is definitely don't grab the latest test builds if you're not feeling adventurous. This little A on the end here is very, very much pay attention to that alpha build. It's so yeah, I'll get those texture things fixed. It'll be a little bit of like a whack-a-mole thing. I should hopefully get those cleared out, hopefully in the next few days or something. And then after that, I really appreciate if you point out ones that I haven't fixed or noticed, because it's probably going to be something where there's going to be a few like lingering here and there that just escaped me. It's just like we got to just poke through the UI and see what we missed here. Oh, there's one. Pre-multiplied alpha for the win. Bread slice character, yes. Oh, will you be using this versioning scheme for releases? Oh, like the beta alpha version scheme? No, I don't plan on making any official releases with betas or alphas. It was actually kind of an experiment to, I didn't even know if my versioning system would like break if I added the A1 at the end. It didn't seem to, so it could be good. Just I just wanted to let people know like this is a rough around the edges version. This isn't 1.8.0. That would get a lot of people very excited and then immediately very disappointed. So yes, this is the silly glow. Bad pipeline. This is a weird case where this texture is actually pre-multiplied already, and so the asset pipeline is supposed to be. Well, it maybe is doing the right thing. The asset pipeline doesn't actually pre-multiply that one. Sorry, I'm just like talking to myself here. But yeah, this is probably just another case where I have to tweak the shader logic to divide by the alpha or to not pre-multiply. Yeah, whatever. Is anyone here actually like familiar with pre-multiplied alpha? I know it's kind of a nerdy thing, but okay, pull request can make 2D, 3D nodes can rotate. There's been a long time request for having like prop nodes be rotatable. I haven't heard about the 2D ones, but there will be, as part of 1.8, there will be a protocol. It's called the protocol version, which is like the internal thing. Whenever we bump the protocol version, that means it's essentially the game is like speaking a new language over the wire. So if you're playing with someone else, they have to be able to understand your protocol version. So the tricky thing there is when we update the game and then we bump that protocol version, when the game is speaking the newer language, old versions of the game can't talk to it anymore. So that's kind of like it breaks compatibility, but we have to do it sometimes. So with 1.8, there will be a protocol bump. I think it might be optional at first because it looks like I can do that elegantly. There'll be a protocol bump that adds asset packages to servers, which I'll explain that in a moment. Basically, right now, we can use asset packages for like local modding, or if you make workspaces or things like that, like asset packages. It'll automatically download whatever's in your asset package. All that's working. The thing that won't be working, though, is if you run a server with asset packages, clients that connect to your server, they won't automatically download those assets. That's what we need the protocol bump for. So sometime soon, we're going to do a protocol bump, which will basically break backwards compatibility. But as long as we're breaking backwards compatibility, that's a good opportunity to get other changes in there. So a few big things I'm thinking of is finally getting haptics in there, so we can finally do like vibrations on your controller. That would be a good thing. Rotatable nodes, you mentioned that would be a good thing. There's been a bunch of other stuff that we talked about that we've kind of pushed off because they're protocol breaking. So anyone remember any of those, like stuff that we want to add but we've kind of deferred it? Well, while you're answering that, is dev team's invite working? This is a good question. So I saw a note on this. Apparently, maybe it's not working. Maybe you guys can just like help me test this. So, as part of asset packages, so without getting too far into it, so asset packages are just bundles of textures and models and all that stuff. You can like add all your own assets to the game, and then the game will automatically download those. As part of that, I'm wanting to wrangle it so we have at least a little bit of like a permission system. Like I don't want to get explicit asset packages out there or stuff with a bunch of copyrighted characters or things that are going to get the game in trouble because they're stored on my servers and stuff like that. So there is the current way it works is there's dev asset package versions, and then you can publish test asset package versions. But then to publish what's called a prod version, which is a public in production version that anyone can download, that will need like approval. So we'll have, I don't know, maybe we can like flag some of you guys as moderators or something to allow approving things, or I can wire Claude up to do it. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyway, right now, dev asset package versions, these are kind of like you can use these yourself. So a dev version is only usable by you, but it's really easy to use. It automatically updates itself, basically. I'll get to that. But then you can publish a test version. And so, if you have your asset package here, there's a publish new test version button. And test versions are usable by you, and they're also usable by anyone in your dev team. And so what a dev team is, if you come up here, there's this weird little mysterious section called dev teams, where you can make a dev team, and a dev team is just like, a collection of your friends that you want to have test your game or whatever, or if you guys want to like share mods, make a dev team and share all the mods you want with that dev team. You know, that's kind of the purpose of that. So the question is whether these are working, and I tested it when I wired it up, but I haven't tested it beyond that. So has anyone tested a dev team? Like, you should just be able to do like create a dev team and invites. Oh, sweet. I got an invite. See, it looks like they're working. Vishu, can you rename your dev team? It's just called dev team. Maybe, well, I don't know if I should have a column here showing the owner. That might be good for people that just call it dev team. Anyway, so it looks like they're working, but has anyone else made a dev team, or has anyone tried the invites? Has that worked for anybody? Like I said, it should be working. Square hair team, nice. But yeah, I haven't extensively tested this. Like I said, it should be working though. You should be able to invite, I think, any amount of people to your dev team. There might be like a daily invite limit or something. I just want to, I want to avoid like people spamming invites to like every account that exists, stuff like that. So I think there is a daily limit. If there's not, I should add one. So don't just like spam invites. Only invite. I think it's maybe like 10 people a day or something like that. So it should be enough to hopefully build a legit little team of your buddies, but it's not enough to spam the entire user base. We need a global UI toggle. What? Oh, global UI toggle. Oh. Okay, you want to do, that's interesting. Like during gameplay, you want to be able to just like fade out the UI and have little cinematic stuff. That's a cool idea. Cool. Yeah. Keep pinging me about that. There's like so much in flight right now that anything more will like overload my brain. But that does sound like a cool idea. People have asked for stuff like that in general, just like camera controls and being able to fade out. Well, this is the first time I've heard like fade out the menus and stuff. But yeah, that is a cool idea. Like, I mean, we could do it in a smart way where it like fades out the menu, but if you tap, like maybe the menu comes back, kind of how phones behave, stuff like that. Just so like your people don't get totally stuck in the game. What is the partner button on the home screen? That is for when people add stuff to the store. It's still, well, it's got like, well, I shouldn't show you that, but it's it's for tracking like downloads and like right now, I've been experimenting with having some of Mr. Sock's stuff on the store, so it's kind of tracking that. Yeah. So at some point, once another, not to divert, but once asset packages are working well, I'm hoping to like do more of that where, if people make cool stuff, cool characters, or, I thought maybe we could have tournaments here or something like that. And if, or contests, like design contests, the winner goes on the store or something like that. Also that's, I do want, it also ties into like monetary stuff. Like if your stuff's on the store and it's making some tokens, I want to be able to like pay you a portion of that and all that. So it's getting into all that. That's basically what that is. So probably more on that soon once it's easier to create like characters and get them on the store and stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Can we stop talking with big text? Oh, sorry. I will try to notice small text people too. But yeah, there's so many big text people. You guys have you've learned to play me like a fiddle. First person view. That's probably, I mean, I think like custom camera views and hiding the menu for like cinematic scenes and things like that, or like that's definitely doable. I don't know if just like creating a first person view straight up is a wise idea, just because so much of the maps and everything I mentioned before, so much of the maps are designed to look good from where the camera is now. Like most everything would look terrible if you're actually like running through the maps. Though maybe that can change over time. I don't want to get into it now, but I have some ideas for building new maps, kind of different ways to do it, and it might lend itself more to that idea. Show us your clay collections with characters and inventory. Well, I got a few of them. I'll bring them over here. I don't want to take my camera down, but I've shown these guys before. Yeah, I got a few up on my shelf here. So here's he's turning all brown. He used to be more gray, but here's the original Frosty sitting on some. I don't even know what he's sitting on. Some random like empty container I had handy. And here's original Bernard. He's all, look at him. He's all dusty and stuff. But yeah, I feel bad that I didn't keep more of the characters. I was just wanted to like recycle the clay. But yeah, I should have kept more. Maybe they'd be worth something someday. Air 2012. Oh geez, I'm so far from the 15th anniversary. Remind me when the 15th anniversary is. I know I've got a little bit of time left. That would be a super cool use of asset packages, stuff like that. Get an icon in there or something that everyone would just like dynamically download. Wouldn't have to push out an update for it. Mr. Mickey Rock, hello. All right, we'll do a few more questions and whatnot, then I'll dive into the asset package demo. Wondering how you got into coding. Wondering personal advice for someone getting into C++ or just coding in general. So yeah, I didn't have like too much of an didn't have like classes or anything. I had like one programming class in high school, which was in Pascal, because I'm super old. It was like the last Pascal class before they switched the class to C++. I think Pascal hasn't been used there for anything real since like the 80s or maybe early 90s. But anyway, yeah, I mostly just started tinkering with this stuff myself, C++ and Python, just trying to make simple games. Yeah, that's it. I feel like now it would be much easier. Not that it was hard back then. I'm sure it was a lot easier than it was 10 years before, but just being able to ask AI questions about like, what does this statement do? Stuff like that. I was always the type of person to just like beat my head against the wall and try to figure things out and not go and like take a class or ask questions. But now that AI is pretty accessible, I ask a lot more questions. So I kind of wish that either I had been more outgoing and the type to ask questions before, or AI had existed, because I feel like I would have learned a lot faster. But yeah, long story long, I didn't really have any specific path or anything. Just kind of, I guess I would suggest doing something that's fun. Like don't try to learn programming because you think it's the right thing to do. Like try to make something fun, and you will naturally learn the programming part. Or just use Claude and yell at him and have him do the work. I don't want to like derail this conversation into AI coding, but it has been quite a change, and I'm freaking loving it. It's just like having a really brilliant but simple-minded little dude sitting next to you that like works for you. So you got to like watch over his shoulder and make sure he doesn't do something dumb. But like when he's doing the right thing, he does it really efficiently and fast. So it totally feels like the job of, I shouldn't say job, it feels like just coding in general has changed so drastically for me in the last 3 months. Still, knock on wood, hopefully Bomb Squad doesn't self-destruct because of it, but we'll see. Popular YouTube, side to game, PewDiePie. I know PewDiePie, yeah, PewDiePie did, I think it's still on my old page, which is not really well kept, but if you go to fromling.net, from way back, oh yeah, actually that's probably the right, Bomb Squad. It's my super old little blog page. And yeah, second video down is the old PewDiePie video from back in the day. I remember I just suddenly noticed like a huge spike in downloads and stuff for like a day or two, and then everyone, someone's like, "Dude, PewDiePie made a video of your game." And I'm like, "What's a PewDiePie?" So it was neat though. I didn't really, capitalize on that moment or anything. I think at the time, like it was still maybe only on Mac and Ouya or something. It wasn't even on Android yet, so I didn't benefit a ton from it, but it was still neat. What are we talking about? Scrambling. I want to... End is nigh. We'll see. Like I said, for me, it's been pretty positive experience so far. I think there's not to get into this bubble again. I think there's a lot of people out there that think like, oh, we can replace all our human beings with AI and it'll be fine. And I think there's probably some people that are gonna have a bit of a rude awakening there. But as a tool, I freaking love it. Kebab with Eric, yes. I love kebabs. My wife and I just found a wonderful, well, she's from Poland, so she has access to great kebabs when we're over visiting there. And well, I do too when I'm with her. But we just found a kebab place over across the bridge in Oakland here. So we kind of make a little pilgrimage every few weeks to get a good kebab. But yeah, the ones in Poland or anywhere in Europe probably are still way better. It's weird they're not as big of a thing here. I feel like when I was younger and out late all the time, like at the end of the night, if you're out with friends, like you'd always, like the thing here would be like, oh, go get a pizza by the slice, stop and grab some pizza or something. But I feel like the equivalent over in Europe is like, oh, grab a kebab. So we need more kebab. Merp, merp, merp. Nescafe. Oh, I feel seen. Despite this being called Coffee with Eric, I am not a coffee connoisseur. I do enjoy Nescafe or any sort of instant coffee or whatever. But it's fun to go out to a coffee shop and get proper coffee too. Wanting to make money off subscriptions won't be 20. Yeah, it sounds like some of those subscriptions are pretty subsidized and unrealistic. I'm paying the most expensive Claude one, and I would pay 5 or 10 times what I'm paying for the use I get out of it. So hopefully the value proposition lines up with the money. We'll see. What motivates you every day? I would say like the same thing that's been motivating me since the beginning of this is just like I had this vision for what I want the game to be at the end, and it's still on its way. Asset packs are part of that. Squads mode is a part of that. Like, I'm just gonna keep beating on it until it gets there. So I don't know. Maybe it's weird like OCD or something, but I just wake up every day thinking like, man, this game would be cool if it was like this. And so now I'm gonna tinker on it until it's like that. Maybe by the end of the day it'll be that way. It never is, but it gets a little bit closer. Yes, Turtle Zoe. PlayStation 2 Bomb Squad. Ugh. It would be cool to see the game running like an old school CRT. Or any of those old school type things. Or like I still have my old arcade cabinet behind me here, which sadly the company didn't make it, but the arcade still works. It's nice. What was it like making the models, and will you ever publicly release the files? The interesting thing, at least for the original set of models, I'm kind of evolving the pipeline for the new ones, but like the original one, it's like the fun part was making this thing, just like, oh, this is neat. But also that was the quick part, sadly. I've always found like the hardest part and the longest amount of time and the most boring part is actually getting it into the game. So like building the meshes, because it's not really, I enjoy modeling on the computer or drawing or whatever, but in this case, it's not really, it doesn't really feel like modeling. It feels more like tracing, it's like trying to just make a mesh that looks like what I already made. Or it's the same thing with making maps. It's a little bit like that's not my favorite part. But it like has to be done, and so that's, what was the question again? Oh, what was it like? So little bits of fun part, the creative part is fun, and then followed by a decent amount of tedious parts. So I'm still I would love to make the tedious parts go away, whether we can automate that in some way or whatever. We'll see what happens. Now that the new asset pipeline is in place, like there will be lots of opportunities to experiment with that, I think. Oh God, I'm still paying for my offhand joke comment. If I ever run for office, like 20 years from now, that's going to come back and bite me. Debug mode. Ooh. That does remind me, I do need actually to get a debug mode back in the game. Originally there was kind of modes. They didn't look like this, but it's just like showing just the raw collision shapes and stuff like that, and it was useful for debugging. At some point, I ported the graphics engine to like a different kind of setup in OpenGL, and I did not port the debug view, so that kind of sucks. I need to get that back in there. Ooh, nice. How to stay consistent? That I don't know. I think that's some weird, strange brain superpower I have, is that I have just a very long attention span. Like I don't get tired of something. Like I'll play the same song like a million times. I think some other people are like that, where you just don't get tired of the same thing. So I think part of it too, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but for me, I think part of it is just keeping it fun. Like, and that's part of why I haven't like hired people or turned this into a company or anything, is I worry a little bit that when it became about like increasing monthly revenue and scaling up and getting funding and all the other stuff that comes along with that, I worry that would suck some of the fun out of it. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I think part of the fun is it still feels like a hobby to me, and it still feels like something I just want to do. The same that motivates people to play games or whatever. It's for me, like making the game feels a lot like playing the game, or it feels like a game. It's like I loved playing games when I was younger. I used to play the heck out of like Final Fantasy and all these like kind of longer games, and like leveling up characters, and that sense of like gaining something or building something. I feel like I get that. I scratch that exact same itch by working on the game. It's like, let me level up my asset pipeline. Asset pipeline has reached level 3. So yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts there. Is just keep it fun. Oh, it's hard to. I can't not give big text preferential treatment. It's like my brain just goes towards it. Oh no, I do say long story long a lot. Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of been like a weird side goal of mine. Is like I'd love to, just see little events that wrap the game up or something, like modders coming together and playing their mods or things like that, or just little in-person events. It'd be cool to like go to something or go to I know I've mentioned this before, but like, yeah, have a little meetup at a conference or something like that. Just translate it into like real life experiences. I mean, that's where it started. I know you've all heard this story a million times, but I started writing the game to play with friends just for fun. And now that we're all older and have, live far apart and don't get together in the same ways and stuff, it's like I kind of miss that. So it would be cool to, kind of foster that in the community a little bit. Also, part of that is getting squads mode and stuff working better so that people can get together easier, online at least. But in person would be good too. I mean, the game is first and foremost kind of couch multiplayer, so it would still be good to have some sort of in-person stuff for those of us who live on the same continent, or even not. I'm in Poland sometimes. I can meet up if you're in Europe. Possibly worried about asset pack abuse that isn't related to storage. Yes, definitely. That is a good question, and that's why. That's the main reason why I've got the whole like moderation system in. So with asset packages, like I said, you can make dev versions. You can use those yourselves. You can make test versions, which you can use with your little dev team or your friend group or whatever. But anything that goes wider than that, I want to keep that somewhat limited. But anything that goes wider than that has to be approved or moderated or whatever. So I'm not trying to make something that's like Roblox, where it's just like bajillions of different things, like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'd rather this be more curated. So if someone just jumps in the game, they're not going to see like a list of 100 kind of sloppily thrown together mods. Not that I'm dissing sloppily thrown together mods, like have fun, like make whatever you want to make, but My hope is that the average person's experience will be more like the curated, hand-picked ones, if that makes sense. So again, that's why the kind of convoluted permission system here. Still got to figure out how I will approve prod asset packs, but we'll figure that out, I think. Release date for 1.8, as soon as I can get the darn thing done. As I said, it's all the major pieces are in place. There's I got to port a few of the asset types, but downloads are working. The whole just the whole asset pipeline, which is the big thing, is working. So we can, all the built-in assets are based on asset packs, or will be, and then all downloaded assets when you join a game, or when you install a mod that has asset packs in it, like that will automatically download what you need and stuff. So that stuff's all in place already. Tomorrow. I wish tomorrow. Everything always, as you know, things always take me longer than I expect, but I am going pretty fast now, actually. Like, I've made a ton of progress in the last week or the last few weeks. So I don't think 1.8 will be too much longer, too much further out. Like I said, there might be a few things missing on the first 1.8 version, like server downloads might not be there, but like mod downloads and, if you're building yourself, those downloads, that'll all work. So asset packages will be very usable, just we'll probably need to wait for like 1.8.1 or one of the early versions. We'll probably flip them on for servers. I still kind of want to like update the server list also, because if a server is exposing asset packs to the world, I would like to have kind of security stuff in there for that, so you can like rate the server or flag servers that are have just flag good and bad servers, basically. That goes along with what I was saying before, where I think it would be good to steer people towards good content, and I'd like the server list to help with that. So that's why, 1.8.0 will probably not have the new server list and probably not have assets downloadable from servers, but that will be like the first thing added to 1.8. What? Opinion, feeling either gold or turd with asset packs, nothing in between. That's likely, I feel like that's kind of everything, or that happens a lot. I feel like with user-generated content, like there's a small handful of it which is just amazing, and then there's a lot which is, not amazing. It's just people messing around. So, just is how it is. But like I said, I do want to try to focus on the more amazing side of things. Yes. No, me too. I mean, just jump. Like, even without asset packs, like you can kind of see just going through the normal server list. There's some servers that are really well done, and some servers that are clearly a little like it's someone messing around. Nostalgia mode, love it. That would be. There's part of me that like wants to add that to the game somehow. Error I'm getting in version 1.7. Temporary redirect. There are some older versions, like earlier 1.7 versions, that give this. I think that might be what you're seeing. So if you can, try to update to the latest 1.7 and it should go away. Apologies to have weird little server errors in older versions, but I can't keep everything working perfectly. Like to some degree, it's like I gotta gently push people to just use the latest versions. After you're done with asset packages and start working on the squad system, are you gonna make changes to gameplay to go in hand with it? Possibly, yes. I mean, I do want at some point to do scene v2 or squad. If you look into the code, you'll see that everything. I've talked about this before. Everything in the code is broken apart into these feature sets. So like scene v1, like this is basically gameplay right now. UI v1 is our old janky UI system, stuff like that. So I'm not sure if this will be part of. I mean, it's kind of like a side-by-side thing with squads mode, but I would like to finally get scene v2 out there, which will clean up a lot of stuff. And that will probably evolve some of the physics and all that. It'll also, a big push on scene v2 is finally getting well, just like improving in general, like the network protocol, so get like client prediction and things like that. Um, so I don't know, because in terms of like mandatory, like what we actually need, like that's not necessary for. I mean, we could leave Seed and V1 as it is all the way through like the 2.0 launch, but there is that part of me that would love to take a pass and get that tidied up more. Make the new characters change to a ticket currency. Yes, I do plan to switch those at some point. I need to take a pass on the store in general. I think Easter Bunny is still up there. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I've just been like heads down on asset package work. So I've just let things sit for like a month now. Lucky also is planned to be a St. Patrick's Day special. So is Lucky still there, or did Lucky kind of come down to? Anyway, but yeah, I need to update the store. Probably some of the characters that have been on there for a while, they'll probably switch to at least optional tickets. But yeah, that's the thing too, is like people who are adding, yeah, if I agree to put something on the store, like I do want to, give something back to who made that. And so it's a lot easier to do that with tokens, because those actually, at the moment, yeah, those result in some actual money. Tickets tend to not, because tickets are still pretty easy to get in other ways. So, but anyway, this will all evolve. But my general thought is like when new stuff appears on the store, it'll probably be token only, just because, yeah, got to pay the bills. And then at some point it'll switch to more tickets or like easier to earn in-game type stuff. So yeah, Lucky's still there. Sorry. I mean, not sorry. Everyone loves Lucky, but yeah, it's like I'm like one of those people that leaves Christmas decorations up for an extra 2 months or something at this point. So I need to get that tidied up. So yeah, most people do not do anything with tokens, but that is, again, gotta pay the bills. So have to press on some people. If some people pay for stuff with tokens, then I can keep working on the game. So gotta find a balance. Is put method working in REST API workspace file? I'm actually not sure. Internally, I actually have two different REST APIs. One of them is completely wrangled by Claude, and it's like an admin-only internal one that he uses for all sorts of stuff. And the other one is public, which should be stable and not change over time. I don't actually remember if the workspace put method is public or not. If it's not, we can add that very easily. So let me know. In general, if there's REST APIs that you'd like, holler, and we can get that in there pretty easily. Upscaled texture pack when? On that note, that's the features are in, well, that is in progress. There will be what's called, I'll probably just call it like ultra mode or something, which is basically going to be double the res of all existing stuff. So that will be coming at some point. So it should be, if you flip to ultra mode, that will probably actually be like an inexpensive paid thing, because it requires downloading all new assets in the game, which puts some stress on my servers. So it'll probably be like 100 tokens or some number of tickets or something like that. But yeah, that's all built into the asset pack stuff. Which, on that note, maybe I should just start demoing that a bit. Let's see. Okay, so asset pack stuff. I didn't actually come up with like a clear like demo to do here. I'm trying to think what would be clear. Okay, well, anyway, the way that this works, I've sort of demoed this before, is that you have workspaces. Workspaces, if you're not familiar, is just little places where you can put a bunch of files, mods, or whatever. The existing use we had for workspaces was to sync mods to your game. So I've kind of rebranded this a little bit. It used to just be like asset or workspace syncing. Now it's mod workspace syncing. And it's limited to mod type workspaces, because there's not really a sense, like if you you can't really sync assets workspaces to the game because that sounds like it would like make those assets available in the game, but it's really doing is copying the source files to the game, which can't really use that. So I wanted to be a little bit more explicit or strict with it. So what you have to do is if you want a mod workspace, which is, scripts and stuff to muck with the game, now you just need to flip that workspace to be a mods workspace. So if you want to do that, I think they're mods workspaces by default. If I make workspace 5, select the workspace, manage. Yeah. So it's mods v1. You can now switch workspace types by just selecting the workspace, do manage. So you can make untyped, which is what everything used to be, which means like it's just files. It doesn't, like there's really no reason to have an untyped workspace, honestly. You generally want either mods or assets. So mods is like if you're writing scripts that you want to run in the game. Assets is if you're dragging in, like source textures and stuff for generating new maps or characters or whatever else. So I'm just going to leave this on mods v1. And you'll see if you can then select any of your mods v1 workspaces for syncing. So it doesn't show your full list anymore. Like I said, holler if that's ever a problem. But if you are syncing something to the game, like there's really not a reason to sync non-mods. So anyway, yeah. There is some fun new stuff also with just any like mods workspaces. So I just made this new workspace. I'm just going to do add, and I'll just do add a plugin. So boink, adding plugin. So you probably noticed this funny little dot up here. So a week or two ago, I got type checking integrated with workspaces. So it runs all the same type checks that I do for my own stuff, just on one of my servers. And yellow means it's working, green means it's done. So you click on that and see like, okay, we ran Pylint on everything here. It passed. We ran MyPy on everything here. For anyone who doesn't know, Pylint nags you for like some style stuff, just like, oh, you didn't add a doc string for this or whatever, or you have too many variables in this function, stuff like that. It also catches some things that are more like errors and less style stuff. MyPy is all about like type checking. So MyPy is, I freaking love MyPy. To write type checked Python, you have to add a little bit more like the type annotations. Like instead of just being like foo equals 1, you have to do like foo is an integer that's equal to 1, stuff like that. But by default, it runs both of these at the same time and then tells you like what breaks. So you can go in, like here's a little plugin. See, it says green, everything's good. But if I come in here and do like foo, which is, I can't use foo actually here. Pylint complains if you call something foo because it's Pylint. Yeah, that's too generic. So let's do foof. Foof, which is an integer, equals blah. So you can see this is actually invalid code. So I made an integer and I've assigned it to a string. Now I'm going to hit save. It's now running checks and boom, like see it tells me exactly, both MyPy and Pylint complained here. So you can mouse over. For 1, unused variable, Pylint says, and for 2, incompatible types. So there's all this handy dandy stuff. So you can like easily run type checking on your entire workspace, which, give it a try. You can also turn it off if you don't want this stuff. If you want to be all old school and just wing it, just manage workspace, turn off code checking, and then that stuff all goes away. But this should help you create a lot better plugins if you take advantage of it, or better mods in general. You can also just look in a workspace. You can come up here and like there's links, so it'll be like that'll take you exactly to what broke, all fancy. There's also there's some basic like completions. Completion doesn't work great, but you can do like import BA classic, or like from BA classic import. Anyway, I'll work on completions. Will probably get better at some point. I need to wire them up to like a proper like live coding session, which means you'll be able to like properly complete variables. In some case, like right now, it's hit and miss. Like some stuff completes, some stuff doesn't. But anyway, though, hopefully this is useful. You can also turn off if you're annoyed by like Pylint. You can just like shut up Pylint, and recheck with no Pylint, and then you just get MyPy. So yeah, so that's a handy update for coding. So you can code your workspaces there, and then sync them to your game. Now on to the asset stuff. So asset stuff it also goes through workspaces. So I'm just going to delete this workspace. Workspace 5, manage, delete. So I'm going to make a new assets workspace. So for that, I'm going to come into select the workspace, manage, change it to assets, update workspace. Okay, and then for that, the way this works is you can just like drag files in there, or well, sort of. Let's see. Let me find like a texture. Source, assets, data, textures. You'll see there's actually fewer things in here because some of them are not in this old build pipeline anymore. So bear icon. Let's do bear icon. So do add, upload a file, bear icon, add, invalid, contains upper, oh yeah. Silly me. Workspaces are strict on file names, so which is good. There's a reason for that. It should save us some trouble later. I'll just do bear.png. So do that. Add, uploading, finalizing. Point. We'll export as bear. Okay, so yeah. See now I have bear.png. You see a preview for it, and then there's some like texture settings in here. And this only shows up if it's an assets workspace. Otherwise, it's like doesn't do anything. But yeah, the cool thing here is I'm trying to make it so you don't have to actually tweak any texture stuff. Like the default quality should do the right thing. You shouldn't have to mess with roll. Later, there will be some stuff like normal maps, or if there's like completely different types of textures here. But you should never need any of these. Just leave that on default. But there's this cool thing, the texture quality tuner. I'm very proud of this. I built this like a day ago. But this lets you, if you want, you can go through and like tweak the texture quality to like get get everything looking as good as you possibly can. So you can see there's two formats of textures that it'll create. So there's desktop. See, it says building. It takes a moment. It's not the fastest thing ever. I'll try to speed it up at some point. Building, decoding. Okay, so this is a BC7 texture. That's the new format that we're using for like PC builds, Mac builds, Linux builds. It's the modern texture format that like any modern game uses. So we've been using like the ancient one, like BC3 and BC1. We're finally up to date though. So you can flip back and forth. Mobile is using ASTC, which is the modern format there. Desktop is using BC7. You can see the default gives you like reasonable settings. Oh, and then you can also look at the original. We'll give it a moment. So you can like flip back and forth between original and desktop and mobile just to see how the compression is looking. And if you have a texture where it's looking really bad, instead of default, you can either use these presets or you can like specify these exact values. So for like mobile, if we went down to block size 12, which is actually the worst quality, block size 12, give it a moment. It's like, oh God, you can see how bad that looks. So it looks really bad, but it's also 4.4K versus the original is 256K. So, it's everything is a size trade-off. But, this is obviously a bit bad. So if we went to the max quality, let's let that build. So that's 34K, but looks a lot closer to the original. You can see, like, you can't really tell the difference between the original and that. But usually, like I said, default will try to be smart and pick good settings for you. So there's not really much of a reason to mess with this unless you see a texture that looks bad. But there's lots of, I kind of went to town with this, kind of made lots of, there's no alpha channel on that, I guess. But yeah, you can look at, and RGBA is all the same thing because it's gray. But yeah, you can mess with your backgrounds, blah, blah, blah. You can have it show pixels or not. Lots of fun stuff. So anyway, if you override any of these settings, then you can just hit save. And that, or you can just rely on the single switch out here. So anyway, that's my cool little texture editor. The The building part is happening on my server, so I mean, I don't know if it would be possible to do on browser, maybe theoretically, but yeah, it's a very, it's using my exact pipeline, so it would probably be hard to get that working exactly the same on a browser. But maybe maybe at some point. I mean, technically we can compile stuff to browsers, so that could be an improvement for the future. Though depending on what you're on, if you're on like a phone or something, it's probably faster to do it on the server. I'm curious, is that what you were asking? Do you want to do it on your phone or your local device? Also, I can run I'm still kind of calibrating the server, but I can get it like pretty beefy at some point, where it's like tons of cores. So we can probably run these compressions like really fast. But yeah, that's exactly why I built this. Like the old game, we didn't really have any knob for that, but yeah, this one you can tweak it. If a texture doesn't look bad at lower quality, like go ahead and use the lower quality and save some space. I do want, I know, Mickey, we've talked about this before, like trying to encourage people to use lower size textures. So I'm hoping to incentivize that in some way, encourage people to not use more space than you need for textures. Also, the fact that the auto mode, I feel like it does pretty decently well. Like in this case, you can see what it picks. Like the default mode gives you 8x8, which is kind of in the middle here. For desktop, the default mode gives you RDO 0.5, which is also kind of in the middle. So that's ideal. I didn't want to have it default to like the highest settings because that would be wasteful. So that's why I was saying that for most people, we can probably leave it at default. I don't even know if the low and high settings are going to be useful. I kind of feel like if you want to customize, maybe just use these. Like maybe I'll take out the low and high and that'll just be like auto or individuals. I'm still kind of thinking about that. But for right now, there's low, default, high. How do we upload Bob Cobb meshes to our workspace? That will be, so that's still coming. I wanted to get textures soon. That will be probably my next thing. I'm still deciding on that. Like you won't be adding Bob or Cobb files to the workspace. Like the era of compiling your own textures, that's over. It's still, the game will still load them, but nowadays, like you should just be dealing with PNG files. Or I don't know if it supports JPEG files. I need to add that. If it doesn't, that's another option. You should always use like a minimally compressed file as a source file though. But if you have like a high quality JPEG, that's fine. It's just that doesn't support alpha channels. Want an autograph? Oh, that's why we need a conference or something. We can show up, play some games. I'll sign an autograph. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the texture quality tuner. Holler if you run into any bugs or anything. Oh, I should mention this also. So right now, asset package textures aren't really wired up to quality. So if you go in the game and you change quality up to high, low, or whatever with textures, it's not going to change. You're always going to get regular asset package textures. I do have the option to do preview or ultra though. Like preview, basically what it's doing is it's just using like whatever is the fastest. So it's going to look like crap, but it's going to compress quickly. So if you're iterating in the game and you want to, iterate quickly on your textures, at some point I will allow, I'll expose that in the game where you can be like, hey, I want to use preview textures. And then you can like iterate on your workspace and it'll update like really quickly. The other one, as was sort of hinted at before, is ultra. So what I should mention is when you drag a texture in here, I need to update this so it shows the actual resolution of the texture. But by default, what you'll want to do is drag in a texture that is bigger than you want to see it in the game. So like double the res. That is what ultra is going to be. So if you come into the quality tuner, you can see this is 256 by 256, which is I think how big this texture is in the game right now. But if you do ultra, it just goes up to the max res version, which is, give it a moment because it's larger, 512 by 512. So Ultra is actually what you dragged into the workspace, but that should also be like bigger than you expect people to see it in the game. That should only be for, maybe people running PC version or whatever that like click a button to get crazy high res versions of everything. So, and it's also like, that's just a good practice to do also, is like to make source assets like bigger than you expect to use them in games. So then, everything gets higher res and fancier in the future. So you're always going to need to turn that knob up or whatever. So keep that in mind that, this input texture is 512 by 512. In the game, by default, it'll show up as 256 by 256. But if someone flips that Ultra thing in the game, it'll like re-download Ultra fancy versions of everything, and they will see it at 512. So does that all make sense? Like Ultra is basically our new like super high quality level. There will probably be the equivalent thing for audio. Like I'll probably have like high def audio as Ultra, probably for meshes also. I'm planning to support Blender for authoring meshes. So if you have like a subdivision surface in Blender, it'll automatically export that as like low res, kind of lo-fi polygons for normal mode. But in Ultra mode, it'll probably do like, a smoother subdivided mesh. So just kind of expect an Ultra mode at some point where everything just looks crisper. Bomb Squad podcast. Oh, yes. That's me. The never-ending no ads limited time offer. So to be honest, like most of the use of tokens, I think it's kind of tied to all this stuff, like having more things in the store, having more maps, having more unlockable stuff. That will give you more uses for tokens. In general, like the economy in the game, I feel like it's like barely moving. It's been kind of stagnant for a long time. This whole asset package initiative is to open that up, just to make it easier to have more content in there, more things to spend tokens on, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it all kind of ties together. Like I said, I'd love to get it to a point where we can have contests or something, or if people are making awesome mods or awesome maps or whatever, I'd love to add some of those to the store and throw you a little money for for your trouble and all that. So yeah, I'm sorry for always saying like stay tuned, like this stuff is coming soon, but coming sooner now. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of enough on, I think, texture authoring, stuff like that. And I don't want this to be too much like a class or anything like that. You can add, so the way this works is when you have an asset package workspace like that, let me go to the one I just made. So bear, actually it'll complain if you have a texture in the top level. You actually have everything needs to be under a directory, and that's kind of for technical reasons. So I'm just going to do like add empty directory textures. You can name it whatever. And take bear, move him into textures, move, boink. Okay, now I have textures with bear. And so now how do I use this awesome bear texture? And for that, I try to make it as simple as possible, but the way this works is, so this is the workspace. This is just like the data. So you have to actually create an asset package. An asset package is like a target that someone can use. So it's a little confusing here, but you have to make an asset package that uses your workspace. So let me name this something better than workspace 5. Bear assets. There we go. Okay, so I have bear assets. Now I want to make a asset package for that. So I go to the asset package section, new asset package, bear assets. So name, you want name to be just something simple because it's going to basically translate into a Python module and stuff like that. So I usually just do like no underscores. I think the Python guidelines say you're not supposed to use like Python modules are supposed to be just in general like a single run together word. Some people use underscores, so you could do like, bear assets or my awesome bear assets or whatever. But At some point that gets kind of tiring to type if you're using these assets. So I'll just do bear assets. Best bear themed asset package ever. Yeah, you can put extra stuff in here if you want. That will show up when you're looking at the package. And then yeah, you come in here, source package or source workspace, bear assets. Pick a dev team. That means anyone on this dev team will be able to access test versions of that asset package. Update asset package. Okay, cool. And now I can publish a new test version. Blink. So I published a new test version. You'll see that show up in your published asset package versions. Bear assets, test 2601, whatever. So if I click on that, this just tells you a little bit about that version of the asset package. But then what you can do is you can do get Python module. And what this is basically what will bring your assets into the game. So all you have to do to get these assets in the game is have this Python module in the game. So either in your mods directory, or if you're just mucking around, with the core repo, just stick it under something. I'm just going to do that for now. So let's see. And there's different wrappers depending on if you want to use it in gameplay. In scene v1, make a scene v1 wrapper. If you want to use it in the UI, make a UI wrapper. They're both basically the same in how they work. It's kind of a technicality. So let's just plug this into the main menu. So let's do BA scene v1, get Python module. And now you'll see how there's this little magical module that I just got. Oh, make sure it was Emacs. Okay. So this is just a little auto-generated thing that it doesn't. You don't have to really look at what's in it, but basically it just creates a textures thing, which has a bear property. So that means, in effect, you can just import this module and then just use textures.bear. And to show you how that works, I'm just temporarily going to add this to my source repo. So source assets, data, Python. I'm going to stick this under classic. So where did it go? Okay, so I'm going to put be a classic bear assets. I'll do make update, which will, because I'm running builds. Make sure the game still works. Make CMake. Oops, sorry, I'm not scrolled down. Okay, yeah, you saw it. Preparing to build bear assets, downloading assets. Okay, the game now has bear assets. That little screen that just flashed by, that I'll probably make that into like a progress bar or something. Right now it's just like ugly screen messages. It is what it is. But if we want to use that in game, let me see where we can do that. Okay, main menu. Okay, so this is the main menu, like scene stuff. So this is where like it sets up the logo and all that, update logo. So now what I can do is I have that available, so I should just be able to do like import bear assets. Let's see if this works. Oh, whoops, not bear assets. It's BA Classic. I put it in BA Classic. So from BA Classic, import bear assets. Now let's see if that works. It worked. Hooray. Now let's just replace the logo. Get custom logo text name. Where do we plug in the texture? Okay, self.logonode.texture. Okay, we're just going to replace that. Self.logonode.texture. And this is the fun part. You no longer have to like have strings anywhere in here. You can just do like bear assets dot textures dot bear. Okay. And now make CMake. Oh, and it failed. What is wrong? Why can't I do bear assets? Oh, I forgot the equals. Silly me. Okay. Now, I've never actually tested this. Let's see if this works. It did not work. Okay, why did it not work? Update. Oh, I think maybe I know. This is like changing an already existing node. Okay. Logo node equals logo.node. texture, L text. There we go. Okay. Okay, so L text. This is where the original node gets made. So we'll do bare assets dot textures dot bare. See if this works. There we go. Okay, now our bomb has a lovely bear texture attached. Hooray. Bear, I know, I kept thinking that, bear ass. I had to resist the urge to like name some of the asset pack stuff, like ass pack, or it's just an abbreviation. But anyway, so yeah, there's bear assets. Now the interesting thing with asset packages is once you have that stuff in there, there's a few commands for wrangling those if you're doing it locally. So you can just do like make asset pins. Yeah, there's this make file target, make asset pins. All this is going to show you basically like what stuff you have locally that's using asset packages. And so we can see here, bare assets is using this test build. And you can also do like make asset pins. There should be another asset pins. Oh yeah, make asset pins latest will basically update all your assets to whatever is newer. So if I wanted to like push out a new version of this asset pack with different, some updates, I would just have to do like make asset pins latest, and I will inherit that. The quickest way to do it, though, I need to make like a tutorial for this. I know it's a little confusing, but if I want to, instead of using the test version, I want to use the dev version. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so make asset pins. It gives me this little help. So tools, p command asset pins help. These are some examples, so you can like pin things. If you want to pin one of those local files to like the prod version or the test version or dev version. So there's some examples here. Tools, p command asset pins update. I want to update bare assets to dev. I think that'll work. Okay. Okay, so now bare assets is using dev. And so dev is a special version of the asset pack which automatically like generates new versions of itself whenever something changes. So that's kind of how you would usually work with them. So basically then the flow, once you have something using dev, then you could just do like make asset pins latest, make cmake. So that's going to update any assets. Oh yeah, it had to build that asset pack, pull that in. Okay, anyway. So yeah, once you're at that point, now you can come into workspaces, bare assets, and just start messing with this. So let's download this file. There is bare.png. Let's edit this file. Photoshop. Photoshop, where are you? Oh, here we are. Okay, we got Bear here in Photoshop. Let's give him a lovely green dot on his nose. There, glowing nose. Save that PNG. And now I come in here, I can just do replace. Okay, and now since I'm using the dev version of that asset pack, I just need to run this again, asset pins latest, make cmake. Theoretically, everything should magically work, and updating assets, building bare assets, preparing to build bare assets, building bare assets. Okay, that's taking longer than I would like, but it probably had to spin up the server. Ta-da! Okay. So yeah, so once you're using asset packs, that's basically kind of the workflow, or that's one workflow is muck with texture, upload texture, run game. So let's change his nose to red. Save that. replace that, run that. Building asset, launching game. And I will be trying to optimize the speed there. So it's pretty fast to turn around, but yeah, so you see there's my updated bear asset. Can you play with this, please? I got to do my boring demo first. Yeah, so that's largely asset packages. So yeah, and it'll automatically download the right version for the game. So in this case, it's BC7 on mobile. It'll be ASTC, whatever. Dedicated asset reload. You'll have to think about that. If that actually that would be very possible. That's a good point, because yeah, good idea. So I know this is a bit of setup, but the whole idea is like once you get it set up, you have your asset pack, you have your workspace, iteration should be really fast. Yeah, we should be able to have, it'll probably be something in here, like maybe there'll be like an assets tab, and we can probably just have like a live reload button, and so then that will save like the that'll save the like the relaunching the game thing. It'll just be like if there's a new, maybe every few seconds it'll just like download the new assets. So that should be really handy. I mean, we might not even need it to be a reload button. It can just be like a live reload, which, like I said, it'll just ping the server every few seconds, be like, hey, is there anything new? Hey, is there anything new? So then you don't even have to touch a reload button. Or we could have a reload button if that would be simpler. And yeah, so that's how you can like integrate it in the pipeline, stuff like that. You can also integrate this stuff into mods. So if you come into workspaces, workspace 4, let me just make a new workspace. New workspace, created workspace 5. I'll just call this like bear mod. So this is a mods workspace. So if you want to use these assets in a mod, you would create a mod workspace and then just pull in that asset pack. And the way you would pull it in is just the same as the game. So we come into bear mod. Now what do we do here? We want to just put a file there, and the file we want to put is that asset package wrapper. So where did I throw my wrapper away? Where did my wrapper go? Oh, I put it into the, yeah. Okay, where did that go? Where is bear? Bear assets.py. Okay. So I'm going to add bear assets.py to my little workspace here, my mod workspace. Ta-da! Okay, and you can see it recognizes it as an asset package. So the file is a wrapper for this asset, version dev, up to date. And so now if you if you sync this workspace, or well, let's just add a file here. Add plugin. So we add a plugin, edit that. From your plugin, you should be able to access those assets. So if we did something here like import bear assets. See, it should autocomplete. You can do like my text equals bear assets dot textures dot bear. I think that was. Let's see if that turns green. Nope. Oh yeah, it's complaining because unused variable my text. See, that's Pylint. It complains about stuff that's technically not an error, but it's just like wasteful. If we add an underscore, it stops complaining. But so you can see, so this checks all your code, which is nice. So it makes sure that you're using actual textures, whereas before it's just like you plugged in strings and kind of prayed. So if I change it to like bears and hit save, now it will tell me like that's not an actual texture. So this is much easier to keep your stuff working this way. Yeah, and then if, like I said, if I were to sync this workspace, come out here and sync bear mods, apply. We already have Like Bear Mod is already getting synced here, so this probably won't really show anything, but workspace changes. Oh yeah, restart to take effect. Context provider type. Okay, so there's a bug I need to look into. No valid BA meta. Ignoring module. Oh yeah, yeah. Ah yes, I have to add that to the wrapper thing. Okay. Note to self to fix that. So wrapper modules, auto-generated wrapper modules don't currently have the BA meta line. Bad me. Anyway, I'll get that part fixed ASAP. So yeah, anyway, I know that's a lot of like dry exposition, but if you give that a try, like start to mess with asset packages, you should already basically be able to replace any textures that you're using in, that you're hand compiling or whatever. You should be able to replace that with asset packages pretty easily. Meshes and audio should come online very, very soon. And yeah, that's. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention with that, if you have a mod workspace with asset packages in there, there's buttons down here for basically doing all the updating and whatever. So if if I go in here and edit that in Photoshop again, actually I'll close this one, edit this one. So I'll give a bigger red nose, save that. If I were to like pull that into my workspace, which I won't do it right now, but if you pull it into your workspace, then you should be able to do this upgrade button, and you'll be able to like get the latest stuff from your workspace. So it sounds a little bit confusing, but basically everything plugs into an assets workspace, and then you can use that in your mods or use that in your just in your raw repo here. And you can see that if I come in here, like the built-in stuff, right now there's two workspaces. So there's BA built-in assets, which is all of this stuff. You can see this used to have different names. It was always like, the capitalized forms and all that. And I'll probably make a way to just like fork your own copy of this workspace in case you want to like replace the game's built-in assets with your own. That should be doable. This built-in assets, it's stored in the project config. So if you just come into Ballistica internal config, it's pconfig now. Sorry, there's a reason for that. It's no longer config, it's pconfig. If you come in here, you should see, assets. You can see this is the exact asset package version it's using for the internal assets or the built-in assets. So if you want to switch out built-in assets with your own, you would just come up here and you should be able to rebuild that way. Like I said, I'll try to make a way to like fork your own copy of this assets workspace. But anyway, this is kind of how it is for me now. If I want to mess with something, I just edit it here and then run the game. Let me get rid of that plugin. Oh, though I actually probably have to let me change the main menu because LTeX should not be bare text anymore. Sorry, I'm almost done demoing here, then we can get back to questions and fun stuff. Okay, back to normal here. Let's kill Photoshop. But anyway, when you have this stuff all wired up, it's pretty easy to iterate, So like, let's say I want to make action buttons change the quality or something. So set that to low, save texture settings. Oh, I guess I'm not pinned to, I'm pinned to the old production version, so this wouldn't actually work, but that would, update the texture, launch the game and everything. All right, I will stop with that. Texture, quality, default, save settings. Over the next few days, I will be moving all the rest of the assets. Everything will either be in BA built-in assets or in BA standard assets. Where did BA standard assets go? Oh, it's down the list here because I haven't touched it in a while. Yeah, all the rest of the assets will be going into here. So these two asset packs. Again, I'll have a way you can duplicate them. So if you want to just copy all the standard assets and mess with your own workspace and use that in a mod or whatever, like you can do that. So yeah, sorry, it's not as slick of a demo as I would have liked, but it was a demo. So this stuff is all up and running. I'll try to get the 1.8.0 polished up and out the door as soon as possible. It'll probably still be a little rough, but it'll be here. So yeah, right now the only time it syncs assets is at startup. So whenever you start the game, if you saw those little messages that scrolled by, it's basically pulling in all the assets it needs to support the mods that it has. So it just does that once at startup right now. That's only temporary. Basically what will happen is once we update the protocol version for servers, that means servers are like advertising the assets that they use. Whenever you join a server, it will do that again. It will basically download the assets you need and then jump into the server. That way you're guaranteed to always like have the assets that the server is using. You're never going to get kicked out of the game again because you know how it is now. If the server is using some asset that you don't have, it'll just boot you. So if everything is working as it should, you should be able to join a 1.8 server once we get that updated and just automatically get all the assets as long as they're using public asset packs or you're on their dev team. If not, you'll get a little error saying like this server uses assets you don't have access to. If someone's running a server with like dev only assets or whatever. Hopefully that all makes sense. And that also leads into the reload button you were talking about. Like we can have a reload button that basically runs that same like download update cycle. So you can just leave the game running, leave it on your map, update your map textures and poke reload, and you should see like the new textures immediately. That should be super cool. So I wish I had that working for this demo, but that could be the next demo. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that's a big if, almost as big as me anytime. Yeah, that should, like, the way it's wired up, that should be pretty straightforward to do. I mean, that's basically exactly what, so there's a new app mode. Actually, I want to check something. Is that app mode? This might be a bug. There's a new app mode called construct mode. I stole that from like the Matrix. Oh, okay, good. It's not showing up here. It's like a special mode that basically does nothing but downloads assets just to like prepare the game to run. So when the game first launches, it goes into construct mode. Construct mode grabs all whatever assets it needs, and then it takes you to the main menu mode. So anyway, yeah, it's like reloading will be basically doing that exact same thing that construct mode is doing. It's just like fetching the latest assets, and then reloading everything. Ooh, actually, there might be a little more logic involved because we'll have to reload the Python asset wrappers also. That's probably doable, but it might be a little bit more work than I thought because essentially, if you're swapping out an asset package version with a new version, that means basically like your Python wrapper has changed. Like those textures actually now point to like a different asset package version. It's probably I'm sure it's possible to make it smart enough that we can do a reload. Always wondered why Bomb Squad wasn't on iOS though. That's a long story. I've told a million times. But basically, it's coming. It's very slow. Just having the Android version out there is enough to keep me super busy. So I've been slow getting iOS done. But 1.8 is just about out the door here, and then it's just 1.9, which is squads mode stuff. I really want to get that in place, and then finally we'll be launching on Steam and iOS. It's that's kind of been the plan for a long time. It feels closer now. Some asset packages are actually fully working. I thought about it a lot. The wrapper module stuff there were a lot of benefits to that. Making it happen at a lower level would have been okay, but then like we wouldn't get any type checking out of it. So it seemed like, after considering all the options, it seemed like just having, basically you're swapping out wrapper modules. That's how assets get updated. That seemed to just be elegant. If we need some hacky thing, like it is possible to reload a Python module at runtime. Or we can make that module have some smart like reload yourself thing or something. because it's not just like versions of existing textures. It's not just the existing textures pointing at different things. It's also the fact that it could be, those textures could go away completely, or new textures could happen. Like there's a lot that can change between two minor asset package updates. So, implementing it at the low level wouldn't account for any of that, if that makes sense. So it seems to make the most sense to just basically have a magical Python module that is your assets as far as you're concerned. But yeah, at the low level, it certainly can update new asset, or it can load new versions of those assets. They're basically like different hashes. They're completely different assets in the engine's eyes at a low level, if that makes sense. Roadmap. What did I miss? Bomb Squad remote. Poor Bomb Squad remote. I still need to revisit that too. That is so out of date. Web build ballistic. Merp. Is this real? Ballistica web. Is that that's super cool if that's let's try this. I mean, I know this is technically possible. I just haven't like looked into it if this is actually running the full game. Holy mother of pearl. Oh my goodness. That is trippy. I thought it would be like far more work than apparently it is. That's so cool. Okay, that is a except why can't I click? What did I broke something. Okay, I'm just gonna like stare at this for a moment. Oh, coolest thing ever. I mean, yeah, I know it's like anything that can be OpenGL and C. I just like the fact that it has like Python and all that. I didn't think it would be that straightforward to port it. I'm not saying that this is straightforward, but holy moly. That's so cool. Yeah, I need to like look into that. That would be great to like support officially if it's not too hard. It'd be super cool to, yeah, just be able to like have a replay that gets saved on the cloud, and then like you click a link and you can just watch the replay in your browser. Like how awesome would that be? Stuff like that, or playing, for that matter. Huh. That is so cool. Real-time plugin reloading in the future. I mean, real-time plugin reloading would probably be the exact same thing that we're talking about with like real-time asset reloading, because now that assets are basically just linked to a Python wrapper module in a plugin, we probably just want to make it possible to, dynamically reload that plugin. It's so yeah, that would be a good feature. I mean, there probably will be limitations with it, because if you understand how Python reloading works, it's kind of like loading a new module that just happens to be the same as that happens to live in the same place as the old one. So if stuff is still referring to that old one, it'll still be calling the old functions. But as long as stuff knows to like look at the new module, then it probably should work right. So yeah, I think that would be a good little initiative to do for quicker modding. So yeah, that's awesome though. I'm very impressed that is already possible. Like I said, I thought I figured SDL, it's open source. I figured that would be not hard. I just thought Python would be like there would be more limitations with Python and stuff. I know it's possible to get it working there clearly. But yeah, oh man. I do owe you guys more flag icons. I would love to, I'm hoping to get icons somehow integrated with asset packs so we can add more icons without updating the texture sheets. Like right now, if you look at how, like icons are basically part of built-in assets. It's like the low-level stuff that always is shipping with the game. You know, font small. Oh, well, yeah, there's, you can kind of see how this stuff works now. I'll try to make it possible to like either scroll through built-in assets publicly or just copy it into your own, like I said, copy it as a workspace of your own. But yeah, you can see here's all the, oh yeah, font extras. You can see all the icons and stuff live as like font extras as well as just random other icons. So it just means like anytime we add a new flag, we just have to keep, here's some of the more recent ones, font extras 5. But you know, ideally I'd like to not have to keep adding font extras to the game, but I guess it's not the end of the world to do that. And I should fill out more flags here. Bug in the latest version of the game, which doesn't let me write using physical keyboard. Which platform is this? I should mention also, as part of this, I went ahead and updated to SDL 3. That made things a lot easier for, there was like this cascade of events. Like I wanted to be able to support these new texture versions, but like OpenGL on Mac is deprecated and doesn't support ASTC or BC7 textures. So to get that working, I had to use Angle on Mac, which is basically OpenGL running under Metal or Vulkan or whatever else. And to get that working, I needed SDL3 just because apparently it plugs in a lot cleaner. So went ahead and the game is now all updated to SDL3, which could explain your keyboard stuff. So yeah, if you run into any like input bugs like that, please make me aware. Could be mod teams, but when would there be an in-game friend list? In-game friend list will probably happen as part of 1.9 because that's when squads happens. So you'll be doing a lot of like inviting friends and this and that. I mean, there's a possibility of like you could share a mod with your friends list or something, or somehow merging dev teams and friend lists because it'll kind of almost be the same thing if you're wanting to play mods with friends and stuff like that. One does make that argument. There's a famous quote by I don't know, it was like an Apple engineer or something, or no, Henry Ford, saying like you should not ask people what they want. Like if he had asked, it's something like if he had asked people what they wanted, they wouldn't have said a car. They would have said we want a faster horse, which is kind of a good point. It's like people don't necessarily, you know, have the best ideas always. They think that, you know, but it's still good to listen to like what people want. Like they want to be faster, you know. It's just maybe like the details, like a faster horse versus like building a weird machine that you can drive on. You know, maybe there's some leeway there. Oh yes, Mr. Sock, yeah, Easter egg hunt remake. I know, that's been sitting on that for many moons now. At this point, we should definitely plug that in as an asset pack thing. So yeah, sorry about that. Sock made a cool like Easter egg hunt update. I don't know. This is a spoiler. Like a year or 2 years ago, a long time ago. We've just been kind of sitting on it. But at this point, yeah, let's make an asset pack out of that. Also, I got to get Easter Bunny off the store because Easter has been over for many days now. Make spaz faster. So yeah, I could be used as an asset package test, just a little later than anticipated. So yeah, I'm very slow, but I do get where I'm going. We have asset packs usable now. I mean, it's not out in the wild yet, but I think my goal at this point is going to be I'll probably just ship 1.8 as soon as I can. Like once I can port the rest of the built-in assets to asset packs, wipe out all the bugs and all that. Like I think we should get 1.8 out the door. Even if we're missing a few things like server downloadable assets, like this will open up asset packs for mods. I mean, the cool thing here is once you write a mod that uses asset packs, if you get that asset pack published publicly or whatever, you just have to give that mod to other people and they will automatically get your assets in the right forms. So it's a lot of big improvements. You'll still have to like get mods from people, but you don't have to worry about distributing the assets anymore. And the mods can be distributed via workspaces, so there shouldn't really be any strict need to get files onto your phone, for example. You should be able to use a workspace with the mod.py script, and that'll pull in all the assets it needs. So game modes are so easy to mod and hack now. Won't be any new mini games in the store. I'm kind of undecided on that. I mean, I do want the direction I do want to take the game is that like people share like that, have that be more mod based. But I don't know. Maybe it would still make sense to have them in the store. But I also like want to make it easy to share them. That's a good question. But we also don't want to make it too easy to share them. I don't know. I kind of feel like we should just experiment or see how that goes. But also one thing I feel is, there could be an argument for putting them on the store, but then you can also just install them as a mod. So then you don't need the store. I feel like that would be a decent setup. Like it encourages people to like start tinkering with modding because you can save yourself some tickets or tokens. But then the people that don't want to worry about modding, they can just like go grab it off the store and play it or add it to a local playlist. Like maybe there's like a best of both worlds thing there. Add Spain. Wait, Spain is not in there? Did I not add Spain? For reals? Oh no, if that's true. I mean, not to like prioritize one country over another, but like Spain is usually, I feel like, somewhat higher on the list of, I feel like I picked the countries that are most populous and stuff like that first. So if I missed your country or whatever, I apologize. I'm not trying to jilt anyone's country. I need to get all the flags in there. Possible to add clans. There's no official plans for clans right now. I'm hoping, I mean, that's part of the squads mode thing is I want to make the idea of like leagues or something where you can like kind of wrangle your own little player environment, whether it's like a league, a competitive league, or just, a league could be something else completely, like a single player campaign or something like that, or a cooperative campaign. I want to make that open-ended, but if someone wants to make a league that includes stuff like that, that should be possible. Like you could have your own clan system within your league. Like I think that would, but I don't currently have plans to have like official clans or anything like that. Maybe later if that makes sense. Yeah, server manager is super out of date. I totally agree with you there. There's smarter ways to do things now. So yeah, maybe as part of 1.9, like an updated server manager would be good. Right now it's in kind of maintenance mode. I'm trying to keep it working, but it's there's lots of new stuff where we could make it smarter now in terms of like communicating with the game dynamically or whatever else. That is a good point. I believe that getting more modes, if more stuff is in the store, make the casual not go through the hassle of modding. Would you consider that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, do we want a casual player? I guess if there's a certain class of casual player that are only modding because they want to play new games and stuff, like maybe that would be good for them to not have to mod. I feel like it's good to nudge people into modding in cases where they might go further with it and start to make their own mods and stuff. So it's hard to say whether it's good to have the easy route be more accessible or the modding route. Good question. Second class players. You are Eric Frumling. I am. True story. If a server hosts an asset package, is there a way for the client not to know what the asset package is in order to protect the assets? Well, I feel like there's kind of two conflicting goals there. I probably will want some sort of like report this asset package or report this server kind of button. I guess that wouldn't necessarily have to flag the asset packages. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't want to. I mean, I considered some things just like making all asset packages like open source, where like you could go in and like poke around anyone else's asset package like this. And I've decided against that. I think, if you want your asset package to be kind of private, that's fine. People will be able to, poke around their local Python files though, or their local, if you poke around here, let's see, if I do ls cache, open cache asset bundle, there's some nerdy technical stuff, GUI minimal, manifest.json. Like if I come in here, you can kind of see asset package versions. Here we have built-in assets, whatever, flavor manifests. There's these different things. I guess this doesn't tell you too much, but it says textures. This version of the textures, it points to this file, which is a big ugly hash. If you then open that particular hash, open.cache assets 3.5. Wait. Oh, no. Asset data. Sorry, I need to rename these. Asset data 3.5. Everything in the new asset system, it's called a CAS, which is content addressable system or something like that. Which everything is just stored as like a hash. So that's why like these asset lists are just hashes. Every asset is just a hash. So it all lives under this, like for building, it all lives under this .cache asset data. You can see all this just ugly hashes, 3.5/4, boink. Actually, I'll just open that directly in Emacs here. 1 second. Nerd time. Assets, data, and now we're going to go into, what was that? Fallback v1, gamma, regular, 3.5, point. Aha, okay. So if we dive into one of these, you'll see this is actually a big listing of everything that is in that asset package and what it points to, which again is just another hash. So just the whole asset package thing turns into this big opaque chunk of files. So for anyone who is not ambitious, it is actually kind of hard to dig in and see what an asset package contains. But if you dig in enough, you can find it. This is like the listing of all the files in that version of the asset pack, if that makes sense. But yeah, by default, it probably won't be too, it won't be too transparent. Like people won't be able to get your source files, if that makes sense. They'll have this big opaque listing of the ASTC textures or the BC7 textures. I hate to disappoint some of you, but the textures are actually stored in .ktx2 format, which is actually a pretty modern, cool format. I know we had talked about storing them in like DDS, but KTX2 actually worked better because it's uniform everywhere. It's got some like neat modern features. The only downside is there's lots of like older tools and things that only work with DDS. They probably haven't been updated for KTX2. Hopefully tools maybe support it or will be updated for it. But also a big point is that you should really never need to deal with KTX2 files. In the asset package world, like you're just dealing with PNG files and it spits out the other stuff for you. Oh gosh. Roadmap Seagull's going insane. Okay, what was... Yes. Oh, well, yeah, I guess Roadmap Seagull will tell you. But yeah, squads mode, if anyone doesn't know, 1.8, all about asset packs. Wrapping that up now. 1.9, all about squads mode. Be kicking into that soon. I mean, there's a few follow-up things. Like I said, I want to get like 1.8.1 out there with, the updated server list and being able to download assets from servers, things like that. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of little things to smooth over with asset packs. But then, yeah, as soon as we get that smoothed over, then it's onward to squads. So very exciting stuff. Oh, thank you, sir. Or ma'am, whichever it is. So I love, I always love hearing that. And thank you to all of you guys in the community. I mean, I honestly think a big part of why the game is still kicking is that, all the mods and everything that people have made for it and just the community support, and it's been awesome. So, I mean, that's kind of why I'm trying to do all this. It's like this whole asset pack system is kind of just to replace, like my janky pipeline, it was janky, but it worked. but it wasn't something I could really that many people could use. It was very much specific to like my particular setup, and got the job done. But I'm just wanting to move to this asset pack stuff so that like everyone can make stuff the exact same way that I make stuff. I want to dog food all this. That's why I'm moving. There's a term dog food, which means like use your own stuff. It means like if you're building a tool, like you should use that tool because then you see what problems the tool has. If you build a tool but you never use it, then like you're never gonna actually see what's wrong with it. So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to dog food all this stuff, make it work well for me. I want to, add anything I add to the game will be asset packs. So I want to make it work as well as possible. But I hope it works well for everyone else too. So anyway, yeah, long story long. Yes, thank you, and also yeah, thank you all modders. So yeah, it'd be cool to. Speaking of bombing over it and like classic mods and stuff, I hope we can port some to asset packs or. I don't know. I'm curious, like the best way to keep those mods like accessible to like the next generation. It's like we could have servers that are running those mods. Or yeah, I guess there already are like mod managers and stuff that wrangle Python files for you. Like those will actually become a lot more powerful now because if you have a mod manager that pulls in a Python file for you, you'll magically get the assets that come along with that. So yeah, that should make mod managers a bigger thing. We can always talk about like wrapping in an official mod manager or making it easier to get mod managers or whatever. And then yeah, the stuff that you all talked about with wanting dynamic plugin reloads, I would love to support that. At least in a kind of use it at your own risk capacity, because I think you can't cleanly reload a module in Python. There's too many like options. Something could be using the old version of that mod and it won't line up with the new version, and it's going to be maybe flaky, but if you follow guidelines, like it probably is doable. So we should make that work. So yeah, I'm excited to see where all this stuff goes. One thing I should mention is right now there are, if you go in, there's this storage section, like everyone has, 32 megs of storage or whatever. If you guys start working with asset packages and real assets and you find that is completely unworkable, or maybe ping me, I can give you some free storage, or we can recalibrate this. I'm trying to storage packs, basically you can unlock a gig of storage for a year with 200 tokens or whatever. This is all in there because the stuff does cost me money, so like if people start making crazy numbers of mods, it's going to start costing me like crazy amounts of money. So I'm trying to calibrate this so that it offsets the server costs. I'm not trying to I don't want the game to be like making, my plan is not for the game to like make money off of modders. Like I'd rather make money off of, people downloading characters and stuff. Like I want modders to, I hope to subsidize modders basically at some point. But for right now, I probably need to play it safe and, charge a bit. So if you're using a ton of asset pack storage, if you don't mind, buying a storage pack or two or something, or ping me and I can, if you're making mods and you legit like can't afford a storage pack or whatever, I'm happy to give you some space. So just keep me in the loop. I do want this to feel fair and not sleazy. So I had to update myself as I was putting together, moving BA built-in assets into the cloud here. Like I ran out of my 32 megs of space pretty quickly. It looks like she's always been burned by some kind of. Mr. Sock did a good job. Good old Betty. Yeah, I am curious. I mean, that's I tried to make the stuff pretty. Oh yeah, sorry. 3 tangents at once in my mind here. I want my asset packs to be as mindless as possible, to where like if you pull in an asset pack module into your workspace or into your repo or whatever, right now you actually have to explicitly upgrade it. So like if there's a newer version available, if there's a new test version, you can if it like updated here or whatnot. I want to add a little checkbox here, like auto update, and probably have that on by default. And that will be like anytime someone fetches this workspace, it will automatically update any assets where there's new versions of it. And so my plan is you can probably just, if you pull in assets, you can likely just leave that checked. And then anytime you're using that workspace, you'll get the latest version of those assets. I hope that'll encourage people to just auto update all their assets. And I hope it'll encourage asset pack manager or makers to keep your asset packs kind of constant. We'll see how that goes. Maybe people will want to turn off auto update, but it also means if you're writing a mod and you want to use some asset pack, you can just like automatically always have the latest version of that asset pack. You don't have to like be manually downloading a Python file or whatever. So I wanted to try to implement that like before today, but I just didn't get to it. So stay tuned if you have an asset pack wrapper in your workspace. There will probably be a little checkbox that will appear, like auto update on use or something, or just auto update. So yeah, I think I really hope it'll make asset packages just like really lightweight. Also, maybe we can do something like if we can have some publishing setup or something. I might actually do this sooner rather than later. Also, like if you hit add, maybe we can have like asset packages listed here, because for one, you might want to add like the standard assets. Because right now, standard assets, to get off on another tangent within tangent, these wrapper modules are existing under Badata, Python. If you go into BAScene v1, there's a wrapper module here. So it's BAScene v1.standard assets. Like BAScene v1 has its own little wrapper module of standard assets, which right now is just a hello texture, a hello world texture. So that's not meaningful, but it also has built-in assets. So what was I saying? Oh, I forgot the point I was trying to make there. Oh yeah, your mods might want to access, actually, if your mod wants to access that, you can probably just access it as BAScene v1.built-in assets or BAScene v1.standard assets. But if you did want to pin to like an older version of standard assets or built-in assets, you could theoretically just drop it in here and it would do the right thing. Like you can have, the system's really flexible. Like you can have different versions of the same asset pack, just like named with different wrapper names and stuff like that. So if there's one mod that's using like an old version of built-in assets and there's another mod that's using like a newer version of built-in assets, like those can both coexist peacefully, stuff like that. So like I said, I think the system should be pretty flexible. But yeah, we might, I need to make a mental note to make it so you can just do add and then there'd be like a cool list of asset packages. Or maybe we could have like a public, once your asset package goes public, like maybe you could look it up in this screen. So if someone wants to write a mod and use, or you can optionally have it public, you could be like advertise in the ad screen. So someone could just like import your little asset packages here and use those in their mod. And then it would be all, type checked and stuff. So it should be pretty foolproof. So if you update your asset packages and then they come back into their mod, like this would go yellow if you change something under them. Okay, anyway, probably enough rambling. We'll have to wrap it up here soon. We've hit our 2-hour mark. I'll have to get back to playing some live games with you guys soon, but maybe we should probably have another one of these in the near future because I'll probably have better demos. And at that point, I would like to probably test the game because, yeah, just to make sure nothing is broken before we push 1.8 to the world. Coffee getting cold. Oh my gosh, I have not drank most of my coffee. Can you check, please? Burp. Oh, hats and outfits and stuff? Unknown. That could be cool. Like a hat would, like hats would be fun. We'll see. I do, that's part of my plan for, I don't know when it would slot in. Maybe part of 1.8 or maybe part of 1.9 is just, yeah, having more fun character doodads and things, like there's, the same way like Zoe has the little like stimulated hair or, pixels, wings, stuff like that. It'd be fun to, I don't know if I could generalize that so like modders could add their own things there, or if I would have to like hard code them, but like maybe hats could be something like that. Like certain characters, maybe it'd be limited to characters where a hat would make sense. Like, Frosty obviously wouldn't have a hat because he's already got a hat, But it could be fun. He drank the coffee. Yeah, is this my first like coffee? I've drank my first sip of coffee. So it's been a very busy coffee with Eric. So assuming 3D models with 2D gameplay. It would be fun. Like another fun side effect of splitting out gameplay into its own little clean world. So source, like I said, source Ballistica. Yeah, so we have all these feature sets. At any point, we could add another feature set, just like 2D scene V1 or something like that, like something that's like totally different gameplay wise, or a card builder setup, or something like that. That'd be fun to expand to other potential gameplay types in the future or whatever. So anyway, yeah, there's a method to the madness with this whole just like feature sets set up. But yeah, very excited for what we can build here. But I think, yeah, asset packages will be a good starting point. Random question. Like I said, the next thing I need to add is meshes and collision meshes. In my old pipeline, those are all OBJ files, like the source files. So I take an OBJ file and I convert it to a Bob or a Cobb file. What would work well for you guys? Like, what do modders usually use for games? Like, is there a 3D file that is the most ubiquitous for modding? I could just make it support Blender files directly. Like, that's an option. Any preferences? Like, maybe I'll do OBJ files just to like port my stuff, but we could do anything else. Yeah, well, there's a lot to ramble about this week, so I haven't had enough time to drink my coffee. I'll have to just chug it after the stream ends here. OBJ is standard? Okay, so maybe I'll start with OBJ. I definitely, I want to make more use of Blender, in terms of like being able to build a full map or something. So maybe you could like author a Blender scene and it would spit out all the defs and stuff for you too. That's kind of how my old setup worked. Like I had a Maya scene and I would set up all like the defs, like the starting points and stuff in that scene. And then it would kind of, I'd spit out models and defs and everything from that one Maya file. So at some point it could be like that for doing maps at least. Like with Blender, but probably for version 1, just getting the asset package pipeline finished, it'll probably be OBJ files, I'm guessing. FBX, I messed with FBX back when I was doing, Zombie Gunship here, that's my old ragged old hoodie from my Limbic days when I was working with my buddies. I built the pipeline there, and yeah, it was all, or I didn't, well, I worked on the pipeline, I didn't build the whole thing, but built a lot of it. We used FBX for all that stuff. I remember that having, FBX is, I remember it being like kind of complicated. I don't know. I'll probably start with OBJ and can move to Blender. If we have need for other stuff, we can do that. FBX had some fancy stuff like animation capabilities and all that. So I can, there's a reason for it existing, but also actually if we wanted to do another fancy format, it would be, why am I blanking? The Pixar one, my buddies, they started working on that while I was still there. All right, does anyone know that? Any nerds here know the 3D format that came out of Pixar that is used in film production and maybe also games? OpenUSD, yes. Sock wins, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, USD. So yeah, that would be another option. So we could support USD in the pipeline if there's a reason for that. I don't know if there would be. Like we're not, we don't have like animations and other fancy stuff going into the game. Everything is just static meshes. So we don't need anything fancy for right now. So OBJ will probably be a good start. The good thing with my dear buddy Claude, we can probably have cool previews here where in your assets workspace you can click on a OBJ file and it'll show you the mesh for it and stuff like that. So we can kind of debug things as we drag them in. Stuff like that, or even, not to get off on the Claude tangent again, even implementing just this dynamic preview where it generates like a preview PNG out of these PNG files. I would love to have written that myself, but that would have taken me like a week or something, or at least several days. But because I got Claude, I just had him do that in the background while I was doing other stuff. And it was like, I answered, I looked it over, made sure it was a good design, how I would have written it. But it's like, man, that was so easy to do. So yay, different world. So yeah, turn off UI, which is really a good idea for screen recording. That's a good point. Bazinga. Each update is a surprise package. Yes, I know. I'm bad about bouncing around. I wish I were better about like going down the list of like the 1.8 things to finish, and then go down the list of 1.9. This goes back to what I was saying earlier, though, where I feel like part of keeping a project like this going for a long time is keeping it fun, and sometimes for me that means just like jumping ahead or getting off on a stupid tangent, side quest. So I think that's part of the inspiration part of it is you gotta have some fun too, or just do stuff because it's dumb and seems like it would be a fun way to spend an afternoon. If everything had to be justified based on like, is this going to make money? Like half the stuff in the game wouldn't be there. So remember the power you used to hold. Real-time shadows win. Honestly, in this shiny new Claude world, that could be on the horizon. Like I said, I started making some graphics engine changes, like the pre-multiplied, having all these textures, they get generated into pre-multiplied textures, which is much more common in game and asset pipelines and stuff like that. Then it's much more efficient in some way that you can actually compress them better, so it'll save us some space on the wire. Stuff like that. So converting that over, I probably wouldn't have bothered before Claude, but it's been somewhat smooth now. I just got to fix those places in the game where the pre-multiplied textures look wrong. But that should be doable. That's another incentive. If you're doing a mod and if you're porting your mod to asset packages, everything should work right, I think. Let me know if not. Your textures will become pre-multiplied, but the engine should handle them correctly when they're pre-multiplied. So yeah, if you're porting any old textures, let me know if you get weirdness. Hopefully you won't. Oh, the collab I mentioned before. I talked about this. I kept kicking this can down the road, so hopefully I haven't squandered it. But yeah, I was wanting to implement. I was working with a contact at Apple to implement some features from their Games app, which they introduced last year. I would still like to get that in there at some point here. Just kicking that can a little farther down the road. What? How can you make the game underrated to popular? No, not adding it to arcade. The collab was about Apple has a games app now, which is, they've had Game Center for a while. It's just like a central place to manage your game and stuff, or invite people to your game. You can poke a little button. Theoretically, it invites people to your server, stuff like that. So I need to wire up that functionality still. It shouldn't be hard. It would probably actually make more sense with squads mode than it would right now because it just will. So that's part of why I've been kicking that can down the road, but it joins all the other cans I've been kicking down the road. Yes, an apple bomb. No. Next coffee with Eric. Might have to play it by ear a little bit. Maybe it would be next week or the following week if there's better demos of this stuff to give. It would be cool, like, if I could do a demo of like 1.8 final, that would be great. And then also we could test with it to make sure it doesn't explode. There's one weird thing that I've got to deal with. Like, now that all the assets have new names, I mean, I've kept the naming equivalent. So if the old name was action buttons with a capital B and no underscore, now it's like, snake case. So everything is like workspace friendly. But if you're connected to an old version of the game, like, it is still sending texture names like with the old names. So the game is having to like maintain a map of like all the old texture names and what they map to in the new world. So I need to make sure that doesn't like totally blow up. So that'll require a little bit of testing, some online testing, multiplayer testing, whatever, just to make sure that backwards compatibility is still functional. So yeah, maybe in a week or two we can have another one. Just make sure that's all still good. And then, yeah, maybe an official kickoff for 1.8 final or something. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I should wrap up. We've run a little over here. I'm sure I can think of a name for this one since it's been forever. There's probably lots of ideas. Any creative names for what we've been chatting about? I think, ass packages. Probably can't play this time. I should get back to work. There's so much stuff to still do, and I try to always keep these to 2 hours. We're at 2 hours 15 minutes now. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap up then. Going once, going twice on last comments. I have been recording here, so as long as that didn't fail catastrophically, this will be up on YouTube in the next day. So if you need, if you want to mess with asset packages, it could actually be good to reference my janky demos I did earlier if you have any questions. I should try to get like an official, because I do intend for this to be kind of like the final way to do things. We'll smooth out the rough parts, but so I wouldn't mind getting like an official getting started tutorial with this stuff going, similar to what I used to have, since this will kind of be like the official way to do things going forward. I don't mind doing that. But yeah. This function that returns the game port, 100% sure that the game port is being used on all the loopback addresses it is binded to. I would have to double check. All that stuff is open source. Like, just there's that one file, like the netwriter or networking.cpp or something like that. It's not too complicated. You should be able to trace that and then see how Python accesses that. Hopefully it's not too difficult to dig into. I would think that the answer is yes, but I can't promise for sure. How are you feeling about Bomb Squad fan games, not mods? Oh, I'm cool with that. Bomb Squad itself is kind of inspired by some other games. So if people want to make something Bomb Squad-like in Unity or Roblox or whatever, like, I'm all for it. I feel like I would push back if someone is just like, I don't know, like redistributing the public or the open source Bomb Squad, like still calling it Bomb Squad and trying to, or hijacks the master server. There's lines where I would feel like would be bad, but no, I think if you're making a game that's inspired in some way by Bomb Squad, I'm honored. That's cool. All right, well, I guess we're about to wrap up here. They sell it for $5. Well, in those cases, I think, if you're not using the exact assets from the game, like, that's totally fine. If it's inspired by the game or whatever. I'd probably want to, I probably should be protective of like trademarky stuff, or like if you don't use the exact character names and likenesses, because if you don't like legally protect that stuff, so I know in some cases you could like lose it. So I'd probably want to encourage it to be an homage, in the same way that Kronk is like an homage to like Conan the Barbarian or Arnold type characters or whatever, but it's not exactly him, So, all right. Yeah, no, don't worry. I want the updates fast too. I'm very excited to get 1.8 final out the door. I'll try to finish up the rest of this pipeline stuff. I'll try not to break things too much. So if you start using asset packages for textures, you might run into a little bit of breakage, or you might see the game like has to rebuild the asset pack every now and then, because that just means I've like bumped the format or something. Or ping me on here if you run into breakage. I'll try to keep things mostly unbroken. So, all right, you guys just getting into like, what do we make? No changes. Yeah, don't do that. Like make some changes. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the fan project. So, and yeah, I definitely got to look into that, like the web-based one. That's cool. All right. Well, anyway, it's been a lot of fun, guys. I hope the demos were informative. I know they were a little rough around the edges, but we'll have a smoother one soon, and the tech itself should be working well. So it's been fun. Sorry also for the months-long delay. But I have been hard at work this whole time, and hopefully it was worth it. So, all right, I will. I'll be lurking in the chat here for a bit, and otherwise I'll see you guys in the next stream. So, peace out.